All right, so just a little intro here. Welcome to Twisted Mormon Stories. Just a little project I'm working on, and this is just a test. So I hope you enjoy it. This is the story of old Joseph Smith when he was 7 years old and his infected leg. I think it kind of begins the whole story of Mormonism. Kind of starts right here. So I hope you enjoy it, and it's just an experiment. Let me know if you like it. And like and subscribe to the channel for more. Have a great day. Bits and bobs. Turning it over to Polly the AI.
All right. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, good whatever it is, wherever you're at in the world. It's Bits and Bobs with a new little thing that I'm doing. I don't know what I'm gonna call this little thing. Weekly thing, every 3 or 4 day thing. I don't know how what the intervals are going to be, but we're going to call it Twisted Mormonism right now. If this works out, um, we'll kind of move it somewhere. I have some ideas, but anyway, basically it's story time. Try to keep things to 10 to 15 minutes, and right now we're going to do a little series on Mormonisms, funny Mormon story, Book of Mormon story. I don't know what I'm going to call this. Anyway, it's just an idea for some different content that might be fun. So whether you're Mormon, not Mormon, anti-Mormon, Christian, Catholic, Jewish, Muslim, Buddhist, uh, spaghetti monster, whatever religion or non-religion, Satanist, I don't care. Stick around and listen to it because you might find it funny. Anyway, so the title of tonight's story: Joseph Smith versus a leg infection, a saga of heroism and high drama, as created by Polly the AI. Yay, way to go, Polly. Good job, Polly. Good job. Yay, 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 yay. All right, so let's kind of set the stage here just a little bit. Little Joseph Smith, future prophet, seer, revelator, and, well, at this moment in time, he's a whiny little kid, 7 years old, with a nasty, nasty bone infection. He's lying in bed somewhere in early 19th century Vermont. The year is 1813, and while other kids his age in 1813 are either playing marbles or, I don't know, chasing girls with pigtails, chasing chickens around, throwing rocks at imaginary witches. I don't know, whatever kids did in 1813. Poor little Joe Smith, he's not doing so hot. He's laid up right now. He's feverish, running a fever, all that kind of crap, not feeling good. And he's being all dramatic. He's like a an 1813's version of Karen, right? Whiny, and he's lamenting his tragic fate that he's found himself in to anyone that will listen, except for his brother Hiram. Hiram said, "Screw this noise. I ain't gonna put up with some whiny ass 7-year-old. He's got some kind of something going on with a bone infection. I'm out of here. I'm gonna go milk some cows or try to make this farm that we're losing because we're shitty farmers, and try to make something of it. Or we're gonna have to move to the burned up section of New York. Anyway, so Hiram, he just split. Alvin, I think he split all of his brothers. Hey, we can have a chipmunk singing, Alvin and the Chipmunks, Alvin and Joe. Anyway, Theodore, where's Theodore at? So anyway, so Joseph Smith, he's laid up. He's feverish. He's being dramatic and whiny and demanding. And I guess you can understand it from a 7-year-old because it's probably pretty painful what he's going through. Because you see, his leg, Joseph Smith's leg, it had been injured back when typhoid fever had swept through the family. It left him with something called osteomyelitis, which is a fancy word, right? It's actually it's a fancy term for in 1813, the term for your leg hurts like heck, and it's only going to get worse. So just buck it up, dude. So once his family heard about that, right? Well, what it was, they did what every other pious, religious nutted family, frontier dwelling folk back in the day would do. They prayed. They put their help, and they're asking for help from their God, whatever their God was. I think it was that point when they were Methodists. I can't remember what his mom and dad were at the time. But anyway, so they were pious. They were there praying, and well, when the praying didn't work to make Joe feel better, they pleaded. Like they were negotiating with God, right? And then when that didn't work, that's when they would call the local doctor, right? Last resort, local doctor. So the local doctor, he decides he's going to come out, right? Hops in his little buggy and hitches his horse up, all that kind of crap, and comes on out to the Smith farm. Kind of getting ready to lose, but comes on out there to see what was going on. So, but to be honest, it was 1813, right? So, sending the doctor out really meant a guy with a saw, a jar of leeches, and a bottle of whiskey. If you couldn't cure him with one of those three things, there wasn't much they could do, and they just watch them try to figure it out themselves, and if they didn't die, they might have got bitter. Anyway, so when the doctor examined Joseph's leg when he got there, he gave the family and Joseph some really bad news. And told him that Joseph's leg, is going to have to come off. It's going to get gangrene or whatever, and it's got to go, or you could die from it. So with that, when that was said, if you could hear through the Joseph farm, right, or the Joseph Smith farm, the wailing, the gasps from his mom and his dad and his brothers, and you could actually, if you listen quietly, you could hear the veil between the Aaronic and the Melchizedek priesthood in the temple in Moses' time just rent that sucker into two. But anyway, but at the same time, little Joseph has some faith, man. He knew something was going to happen. He was going to be a big time dude, and he had to play his cards right, even at 7 years old. So he looked at that doctor, and with all the gravitas that he could just grab, he grabs all that gravitas like a budding prophet would do, and apparently refused outright to have his leg cut off. And he told that doctor, "No, sir," as he was clutching his infected leg like it were the golden plates that Moroni gave him, and said, "This leg stays attached. God didn't give me these two legs just for you to go sawing one of them off, damn it. God damn it, damn it, damn it." Joseph Smith was kind of a weird little 7-year-old. Anyway. The family at that point heard Joseph say that, right? Rallied again with him and got all their faith together. And, they were really devout. And they were practical, too. And right, if they cut off the leg, if that leg had to go, then Joseph wasn't going to be real useful around the farm, right? He couldn't milk a cow. I guess unless you could handle it on one leg, right? It's hard to push a plow with one leg. So anyway, like I said, the family there being devoutly religious, practical though, in equal measure. They decided they couldn't risk a one-legged son, as I was saying. So, after all, how could Joseph Smith, a 7-year-old boy, he's destined to be finding a religion, right? To create a religion, and to have him do that in later life while hobbling around on a wooden stump, That wouldn't do, would it? That would not be good. So what the family did is they searched far and wide, high and low, up and down, left and right, for a second opinion, for another doctor, and really tried to find a surgeon who could save little Joe's leg, and they found one. This surgeon promised that he could save the leg, but there wouldn't be no picnic. So it wasn't going to be a walk in the park. It wasn't going to be a cakewalk, anything like that. It was some serious shit. So, but Joseph, who thought and had stated that he never was one to back down from a challenge. Well, that's not true either. You gotta be careful on these things, because he was known to back down some challenges later on in his life. Particularly ones that involved paying creditors, right, and trying to skip out on his bills, or legal summonses. Boy, he got a lot of legal summonses. There's a lot of legal problems in his life. Anyway, that's another story, right? For later on, because we're not quite to that part of the story yet. But anyway, they all decided and agreed to the surgery, see if they could save little Joe's leg. So anyway, so now here's where the story gets interesting. Anesthesia. It really wasn't a thing in 1813, right? People in those days dealt with pain the old-fashioned way. They grit their teeth, they bit down on a stick or a piece of leather, and occasionally, screaming so loud that the cows outside, they stopped even chewing their cud. Oh, boy. But young little Joseph, and you have to admire it because Joseph made a move that even his staunchest critics, even to today, probably have to respect. He declared that he'd endure the operation without being tied down or biting down on anything. He said, "I'll just hold my dad's hand." Sort of like a kid bargaining for extra dessert. And somehow, through what must have been equal parts of grit, stubbornness, and sheer teenage bravado, he endured the surgeon and the surgery when the surgeon was chiseling away at his infected bone. And in some tellings of that story, Joseph's courage during this ordeal is painted as probably the first sign of his prophetic calling in the future, right? But let's be real here. This is less divine revelation, right? It's really more just tenacious kid who didn't want to lose his leg, right, to get through it. And that's what really happened. So, sure, it's impressive that he didn't pass out halfway through the surgery, but let's not pretend at the same time that he was some glowing light orb thing coming down with celestial brightness to him during the procedure to make sure he got through it. In reality, he's probably sweating bullets and probably cursing under his breath like any normal 7-year-old in that position would be doing. So anyway, moving forward, the operation ended up being a success. And little Joe, he kept his leg, albeit with a permanent limp that, depending on who you asked, either added to his rugged prophet mystique, down the road, or the other thing was it made him look like a bit of a complainer, particularly when the weather turned cold. I got that problem. I broke my wrist 20 years ago, and when it gets cold, it starts to ache every once in a while. Call it my instant weatherman. Tell me what the temperature's doing. Anyway, I don't know, complainer, help to make him look more regularly prophetic. I don't know, but whatever it was, at 7 years old, when you're destined to dig up golden plates in the woods around your house, in a few years, and start a new religious movement, I mean, you got to have a good backstory, right? And what's more dramatic than I survived having my leg carved like a Thanksgiving turkey at the age of 7? I mean, really? I mean, that's a good backstory, right? So anyway, so the moral of the story is even prophets start out as kids who don't want to have their legs cut off, right? And while young Joseph might have been brave, let's not forget that this whole ordeal probably left him thinking, if I can handle that, I can handle anything. Which, given what came next in his life, turned out to be true. Well, at least until the mob in Carthage jail. But again, that's another story for another day. And that's the story of Joseph Smith and the leg infected. Or is it Joseph Smith versus the leg infection? I think that's what it was. Anyway, hope you kind of like the story. We're going to go through Joseph Smith's life and some of the weirdness in his life, kind of like that, in little humorous ways. So like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Bits and Bobs out.